tradition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say is even harder to find.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Things Real Estate Without Your Boomers today. I'm Aaron.
Ben.
Jeet.
And we're going to bring to you the latest hits, tricks, and tips.
Whammy!
In real estate. And we would like to first start with a moment of silence.
For all the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagle fans.
Thank you. We're sorry about that. David over here, who's usually with us, big.
But he's missing today, just like
Cowboys
Dak Prescott was missing this weekend.
Oh, wow. Nice one. Love that.
Jordan loved that, right?
She doesn't even watch football, knows football. Hey, I think something that we need to talk about.
I can just feel the energy right now.
That we missed maybe in the last couple podcasts was how, first of all, let me back it up a little bit. Do you guys know that right now our inventory in December, well, I know it's January, is the lowest it's been since 2012?
So you're saying last month was the lowest inventory?
Last month was the lowest. So what prompted this whole thought in my brain was that we just went to a mega agent mastermind where you have to do 25 million plus, which you guys both did. Congratulations. And you just talk about kind of what's going on in the market, what's working, what's not working, that sort of thing. But one thing that I wanted to highlight is you were able to get into contract in December. Jeet got into contract in December.
Yes.
What do you think? You got into contract off market.
Yes.
What are you doing to get your clients accepted?
I think, as you mentioned, like just the networks with other agents, knowing what's coming up and creating inventory, right? Like not waiting for the right home to come up, but actually going out and networking with other agents, seeing what they're going to list in Jan, Feb, what they have coming up. Also in our members only section as to properties that you can't see on Realtor.com, Zillow, or Redfin that we have access to, that we can actually reach out to the other agent and see if that's a good fit for our clients and getting ahead of what a normal agent does.
I told Jeet about a property that I had coming soon. The guy has the most unbelievable follow-up to see properties. So, like, if you're like, yeah, we're not going to list, we're going to list the home, but maybe in a month. He's like, no, when can I get in? When can I get in? Hey, just want to follow up, see if we can get in. Hey, you can. And I'm like, oh, my God. But I think kudos to you for having amazing follow-up with agents on getting to properties before they go on the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Even without looking at the MLS coming soon, just being part of the office we're at. I mean, we had the office meeting today, and there's 25 properties that all these agents in our office, I feel like, are very open to working with other agents in our office and helping us out. Which again, I think is just like when choosing an agent, we had someone walk into an open house this weekend. They worked with a discount buyer's agent, which what they said will not show them homes. They go and preview the homes on their own, and then they get a 50% discount back. And this guy has no access to MLS, doesn't have part of an office that he can go to and resources that he can use. So it's just interesting. When you think about an inventory where it's this low, do you want to be working with someone who's got access at their fingertips or someone who's going to give you a discount off on homes that you have to go to open houses and see on your own?
On that note, I got a really interesting call. I removed my listing from Folsom, and this agent calls me, this buyer calls me, I don't know from where, he probably saw it still up live somewhere on a third-party website, and he calls me and he goes like, hey, I want to see this property, can you come and show it to me? And I was like, I would if I was there, definitely, I'd love to show it to you, but I can connect you with my partner agent up there who can open the door for you. And then after I talked to him about all of this, his home search, all of that, seemed like he didn't have an agent. Then I asked him, I was like, hey, do you have someone working with you? He's like, yeah, I've been looking with my agent for 3 months or so, like, he's there, but I don't want to disturb him. And I was like, what do you mean you don't want to disturb him? That's a part of their job role. They're supposed to come and show you the properties, especially this one, since it's off market. We don't have any open houses or anything, so I would love for your agent to be present there with you. And he goes like, no, the listing agent will open the door for me. And I was like, that's not how it works. And he's like, I don't need you to explain how things work, in real estate. And I was like, what the hell is going on? How uninformed can this guy be, right?
That is crazy.
And then it ended up with his agent coming and opening the door
It
for him
happens
finally.
more often than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Than
bet
people think. Dude, your buyer's agent is to be there with you at all times throughout the entire process. Every single house you see, unless it's an open house, your buyer's agent better be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had someone call asking about going into tour property, and I asked where their agent was, and their agent lives in Los Angeles. Gave us a call, wanted to see a home, asked where their buyer's agent was. Agent lived in Los Angeles. I
Yeah.
said, okay, so how does this work? Like, do they not come down to show you homes? And they said, no, we just tour the open houses and they write the contracts. And I said, that's interesting. Do they have any knowledge of this area? And they're like, no, they live in LA. So they're writing offers on properties, competing against multiple different offers without a relationship with an agent nor the knowledge of a market. Just interesting to me. Buyers feel like it's a...
Would you say that by living in LA, that if the house is $1 million, they're getting those buyers are getting $12,500 back on $1 million house, right?
Mhm.
Do you think that those buyers are going to be paying $12,500 more than if you or Jeet represented them?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting, I think David was there at the open house with me. They had a buyer who had an agent not from
Did
the
you
area.
do it this weekend?
I helped him while he was back and forth watching.
Oh, at Bayless?
Yeah. But we had someone come in that they just lost an offer by $4,000. And
That should never happen without you know.
I said that
Exactly.
to him. I said that should never happen, and they were like, "What do you mean?" I said, "That's either a massive communication issue or just a non-relationship with the selling side. Like, how you're in the dark. $4,000. Could you imagine getting that text message?
Yeah.
If
Exactly.
you're losing by $4,000 and you don't know you're going to lose by $4,000, something is very wrong.
Very wrong.
Yeah.
Like Jeet has lost a couple really close ones, and he's also gotten a couple really close ones. Remember, you got that one by $1,000.
Oh, right. That was $500.
$500.
Yeah, $500. 22 offers that I was competing
That's a
against.
relationship.
And I won by $500.
Why? Because of the relationship.
It was ridiculous. But
Forget the relationship. He won because of $500.
it was,
No,
it was
that is
insane.
crazy. But I think as inventory starts to heat up here, all the buyers who've been waiting, who've been patient, their time is coming.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, there's been time and again when I see when I'm hosting open houses and I know what's a number that would get it done, right? And then they have this agent that's out of area and all of that, and obviously I don't disclose that. But if they had worked with me, they would have saved probably $50,000 to $60,000 than what they ended up paying, right? It's like there's a lot of value in a local agent.
Yeah, I
that
think you
knows
guys
that.
are both really, really good at finding out what the top offer is and getting really close to it to be able to win.
I tell them my buyers that all the time, when we start the process, like setting expectations. The expectation is we're going to put you in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely in our market to where you're going to make an offer and they're just going to accept it. And we ask agents that, are you going to give a counter back? Are you going to accept the highest and best, kind of guide us to where we need to be? But most of the time you're going to get a counter. It's going to be a multiple counter. And that's what I keep telling the buyers. Just get in the game, let us figure out where you need to be, and then make that final decision. And know when you're going to sleep that night, you're comfortable paying that monthly price, or you're comfortable walking away at it at that price point. But at least you have that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think is going to happen with interest rates next year or this year?
This
I
year?
guess?
Well, they're for sure coming down. You said on the podcast last week that we were going to have a 15% increase in.
So at the mastermind,
had a
today,
client call
we
me
said
about
between
that.
10 and 15%,
And if that,
consecutively across the board.
and if that's the case, and we do see that, buyers I think need to be under the impression of you're not in this boat alone. Like there's going to be there's a lot of buyers out here, and if inventory starts coming up and interest rates start coming down, more people are going to start coming out and looking for these. So get serious.
So,
Yeah.
I want to tell you something. The thought I had when that happened was I realized that especially the tech sector of the stock market way outperformed any interest rate hikes. So if interest rates went up 20, 30%, a lot of tech stock, you look at Facebook, it's up over 100% from last year.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But that was also because it overcorrected.
Yeah, a lot. I guess a
down.
lot did, but
Yeah.
generally speaking, we're up what? Like the S&P's up 24%. I want to say.
Yeah.
It's been great. No, I mean, we talk about all the time. NVIDIA single-handedly, like you invested in NVIDIA years ago, they made multiple
By
amounts.
NVIDIA, do you mean NVIDIA?
NVIDIA.
What do you-
Their stock single-handedly made multiple amounts of millionaires
Do
this
you
year.
know who bought a lot of NVIDIA stock?
all the Santa Clara homeowners?
No.
Yeah, oh my.
She's a politician.
Gavin Newsom.
Nancy Pelosi.
You said he. I mean, they're all the same. He and her.
No, Nancy Pelosi.
And by that I mean
There's
in
a great-
relation. We're not talking. I'm not going into.
Hey, there's a great
No
app
gender
you
politics.
can follow. You can watch what politicians are doing, buying, selling. They make $250,000 a year, but their net worth is all
Millions. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, super crazy. So, what do you got, Jeet?
I had a question I totally blanked out on, but it was on the note of equity, right?
Mm.
Like most owners, when they hear that prices will go up 10-15%, right, on our podcast, they think, okay, so why should I sell? Or more even, buyers that are in the market and they're looking at the S&P go up 25% year over year, they're like, why should I buy in real estate, which will only get me 10-15%, whereas I can have it saved in S&P, which will yield 25%.
Well, I personally think that real estate, and again, you don't have to. Investment is such a lenient word when it comes to it, because you necessarily shouldn't even say like a home is an investment, because it's a home. Like, we're lucky in an area to be able to call it an investment. But I feel like if people are looking to invest in a home and not the S&P, you can do that anywhere. You don't necessarily have to invest in a home in San Jose. Continue renting, buy a couple homes in Texas or in another state. You go to Sacramento, buy a $300,000 home, build equity on that in 5 years, and still get rental income.
So one thing that David and I were looking at was a super rundown place in Chicago. I want to say it was like 30 or 40 grand, but you have cash flow.
Immediately.
Right? So eventually that asset's going to be paid off and you're going to continue to make money. I have a good friend in Georgia. His name's Tim Stout. He sells about 300 to 400 houses a year. I saw that he bought a house for $80,000 out in Georgia, and it's going to rent for $1,000 to $1,100 a month.
And in 10 years, it's going to appreciate. Who cares how much? It's
Not
still
to
going to
mention,
appreciate.
he's doing things to the house before he gets it rented that automatically made it worth over probably $100,000. So you have instant equity built in. So if you get into a point where you're like, oh, I got to dump it, you're never going to lose.
Yeah, or you can refinance and get your initial investment out of it, right? And that way you have that money to put into another project, and you can have this basically tenant occupied and making equity and appreciation into it.
So while we're all pretty young, have any of your clients or friends asked you about living in a single family home and building a basically condo complex in your backyard?
An ADU?
An ADU, but you can split it up into 4?
Not yet. I haven't had that conversation
I haven't
yet.
had it either, but a couple of the agents in the office have. But essentially it creates a lot of problems because somebody has to manage the HOA, and so I don't exactly advise it, but it is definitely doable, and I've been seeing kind of house hacks on social media where that's been a thing.
You think that would make sense?
No.
So what we decided today was that if you were to do that, you're devaluing the property, the single family residence, more than benefiting it, because
You're devaluing the homes around you. You're going to devalue your neighbor's house.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like creating a lot.
devaluize. Is that a word?
To relate or debate,
Devaluate.
do you want your neighbor to build a condo in their backyard?
No one wants condos. I mean, it's a very confusing. So if you were the single family owner, you have to become the HOA
What are
president.
you guys doing? A podcast without me? What the parents are gone, and so the kids just run the house, or what? Is this how it works?
You really caught me off guard, man.
I felt like I just got caught doing something.
We were just saying how we're rolling without you today.
We just were talking about how much we missed you
You
guys.
think it's okay to do a podcast without us?
We're on a
Who
good.
approved this? Who's paying for this?
Jeet's paying.
Jeet's paying? All right. Hey, as long as there's no Dallas Cowboy jokes in the podcast, I'll pay for it.
Starting now.
He's
Starting
really,
now.
he's really sorry for your loss.
Aaron's had a great year.
All right, well, I hope it was good content.
Are you gonna
'Cause if
come
not, No, I'm not coming in. I hope it was good content, because if not,
Hey,
2 guys in a house podcast next week.
before you leave,
Yes.
market
Cowboys.
average price for a single family home in Santa Clara County, plus or minus 10%.
This year, by the end of this year,
Mhm.
it'll be up about 7%.
David says up by about 7%.
Median or average price, either one.
All right.
Up by about 7%.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, guys, be good.
And thanks, Dave.
Thanks.
Dad.
What were we?
Don't put condos in your backyard.
Yeah, don't put a condo in your backyard.
Yeah.
I think it creates density and then devaluates.
What's so
the
stupid?
It
surrounding.
devalues the single family and neighbor's
Even
house.
when that SB 9 bill first passed and everyone's like, oh, we're going to buy this tear down and we're going to build a duplex. And then it's like, okay, so you're going to take a well-distinguished neighborhood, solidified neighborhood, and you're just going to build one duplex in the middle of it all. Now, that is so... No.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like you get a neighborhood or a city to like end up suing you.
I saw on Lee Avenue, they have a single family home off Lee Avenue.
Okay.
It's kind of a U shape, like this.
Okay.
And I thought when they were doing all this construction, they were going to bring the front entrance out.
Yeah.
Nope, that's not what they did. They put a box on top of the house.
Went up.
So the U is still there, but now there's a U with a little tower.
Okay.
And there's an entrance from the front. So this is the driveway here.
Yeah.
Entrance with stairs right here. To go
to
your
the top
ADU.
unit.
Yeah.
So it's basically
there's no
it's-
two-story houses on the
It's,
street.
yeah, it's a U-shaped home, but the right side of the house is a 2-story ADU unit wall attached to the home. If you guys are looking for this, viewers, Foxworthy and Lee, make your way down there. It's crazy. No, it's a serious thing. In Lauren's neighborhood, there is a house on the corner that, because it's a corner, they have an entrance that they can get in through the side for a car. They built a 2-story ADU behind the house, and I'm not joking. It's probably like the distance between homes is probably the length of this table.
Wow.
Yeah, they've changed the setbacks.
It's crazy. I mean, how do you
Have
go
they made
about
it shorter?
in
Oh,
the
wow.
new bill that you can split it off, parcel it off, and then sell the ADU as a whole? So who's gonna buy? Like, oh my god, that's
Guys.
crazy! You're gonna buy an ADU living in someone's backyard.
Yeah.
Do you know where there's a lot of
It's-
land?
Vasona Park.
So not like
Guys, I heard they're filling in Lake Vasona.
we you heard it here first.
That is gonna be the ongoing
awesome.
joke.
So, you know.
That's good. When you think that, why do you think market is going to go? Prices are going to increase by 7% or 15%.
I think lack of inventory
And
combined with lower
decreasing
interest rates.
Yeah.
I think a
Decreasing
lot of people
rates,
we saw
lack
were
of
tapped
inventory.
at 8%. They're like, we can't physically afford anymore.
Yeah, I just heard from another agent 30 offers on a home. Santa
How many
Clara.
people you get through open house?
40. But that's what I keep telling buyers: 30 offers, because everyone's in the same boat. That pretty penny comes up, everyone's
Yeah.
going to go to it. It
Exactly.
doesn't. You can't.
But then you have appreciating comps.
Yeah.
So month over month, comps will keep going higher. So right now there's 30 offers on that home, creating the highest price in that neighborhood over the last 6 to 8 months. The next person that sees the next home in that neighborhood, even if there are 3 or 4, that one home has created a benchmark, which then creates a recipe for appreciating values.
What do you think is going to happen throughout the nation this year? I mean, I know Silicon Valley's safe, but
Nation.
yeah, like Ohio, are they going to go up?
I mean, I think those areas have a ceiling compared to us. I think when it comes to, like, just in general, like when you look at the resale value of people who have bought homes in the last 3 years, like, again, you look at Austin, Texas, 9,000 homes on the market. Like, those
Yeah.
people are fully, and again, I don't know job situation, life situation, all that, but they're fully comfortable purchasing a home at 3% and then selling and rebuying at a 7 or 8%. Like
Right.
in the Silicon Valley, that won't happen. We won't see people sell a home until it gets back down to 5%, because that's when people are comfortable going from a 3 to a 5. Like, there's not one thought in my mind that anyone here is comfortable, even if you lose your job, needing to sell the home immediately. Like, I still feel like people at a 3% interest rate at $3,500, $4,500 a month in mortgage, their other half can pay for that, even if one person gets laid off, and they'll find another job in the next 3 months and they just continue that payment.
Yeah.
We're in a bubble. The whole nation.
Yeah.
Who
It's
knows?
just more.
We're in a bubble.
we're in a bubble.
Holy
Like,
David really threw us all.
came in here like we were in trouble.
Yeah.
Felt like I just stole a cookie out of the cookie jar.
This is our annual boys podcast. Last
Wow,
year,
yeah.
this time we did the same, just the 3 of us.
I love that. You have a listing coming this week?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
I mean, this is what's interesting. Take a listing off last year. That listing's going to come back on. New listing's coming on. It's like that time where
When did you take off?
Oak Grove, the Morgan Hill property.
okay. You're
That'll
putting it
be
back
com-
on?
Yeah.
Market's up since.
Market's up since, and there's no inventory.
Okay. So you think you're going to sell it?
You know, we hope. I think, obviously, you can sell anything in this market. Again, it just comes down to the seller's expectations. Like, and this is what we talked about this earlier in the podcast. You can't say a home isn't, like, even if you say a home is an investment, show me another investment that's going to make 13% every year. Like, you, in your job, you can't make and save $300,000 in 3 years. At me. It's just not going to happen. And that's why I feel like when you're selling these, you know what I mean? When you're selling these homes, even in 2 years, if you make $250,000, like, you're going to be mad because you didn't get more. So will it sell? Of course it's going to sell. Will they be happy with the number? You hope. But at the same time, it's not the sellers that make that decision.
So tell us about the house.
There'll be more buyers, Ben. I think it'll be a better time when you go back on the market.
Cool. Thanks for telling us about that.
It's a
So tell us about the house.
Yeah, it's 5 bedroom, 5 bath, 3,000 square feet, Morgan Hill, great schools, and Sobrado. 15-minute drive into San Jose. Not the largest backyard, but enough to be comfortable in and have a barbecue with family and friends. Very quiet neighborhood.
Lots of space.
I love
Lots
that.
of
When are you two gonna buy a home?
Well,
After Ben.
you see, one
How
thing
about another Porsche?
Yeah, one thing I tell my buyers is never buy a car when you're looking to buy a home. And Aaron just now put himself behind the 8 ball a little bit.
Do you know what's better than one Porsche?
2 Porsches.
Jeet, how much has your home appreciated?
It's appreciated by 200,000 over the last year.
So you bought it a year ago?
We bought it in 2020.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a good time.
What do you think about the San Francisco market? Obviously, there's been a lot of talk with where it's
Single
going.
families, condos, high rise. What are you talking?
All of it. Do you
All
think
of
the
it.
population is moving from San Francisco, or are they still locating to San
I think it's a
Francisco?
4 to 5 year thing.
As in,
Cycle?
you think that is it going down right now for the next 4 to 5
I think the
years?
city needs to be cleaned up tremendously before people want to go back. They're
Yeah.
not missing anything.
I think so. That's right. I think commercial market there is coming down pretty significantly, which is also impacting the residential side, and it'll take a while before it bounces back. But I guess with lower rates, and as we see the rates keep going down, the condo market and the townhome market up there will get better, because the first time home buyer, or like the first time home buyer is significantly impacted by these rates. So as the rates go down, I think that San Francisco market will get a little better, but not as good as what we see
But
down here.
you're moving to the city because you usually work there and you want the energy, right? A lot of the energy is gone because people aren't working there so much, and they shut down the mall, and they need to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
It's not exactly, it's not the beautiful city that it once was. It's a little, every big city's dirty, but the homelessness is a little rampant. There's not enough police. I mean, everyone's behind, so it needs to be cleaned up. So until then, San Francisco, I'll watch your Giants games on TV.
You know, when you get 3 guys together, you get a lot of energy and a lot of focus. It was a pleasure today with you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Absolutely.
Pleasure.
So much better without working, David.
Hopefully by the next podcast that we all come on with our dads, the Niners will be in the NFC Championship. We will have beaten Jordan Love and the Packers, and all thing is good. In the
Hey,
world.
Predict the
for
game.
the next podcast, let's not say anything for the first 4 minutes. Just
for the next podcast, we should come dressed up in a certain thing, pretend it was a uniformed idea. They will.
Oh wait, I have an
Oh, yeah.
idea. Let's leave them out of something.
That's what I'm saying. What do we?
Hey, what did you donate to? I donated to. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, what'd you donate to? Hey, what is this podcast for you for today? This is for the Boys and Girls Club of. Yeah, and we'll be like, what'd you guys donate to?
we all bring a person that we want to thank.
Yeah. Hey,
I was able to hang out with Jimmy on Saturday.
anyways, if you made it to the end of
If
this
you
podcast.
had the patience to listen to us 3
Hey,
talk,
listen. If you've made it this far in the podcast, I want you to DM Mark or David, send me my $100 gift card, and we'll give you a Visa gift card for $100 sent to your address. First 5 people. again, DM.
Yeah, it's
Make sure.
markvk@kw.com.
markvk@kw.com.
And make sure you CC David at
vkgre.com. Listen, it's a free $100 if you made it this far. On them.
on
them.
them.
Backed by Ben and G. We'll see you next time.